Hello everybody, welcome back to the show. Well, there's a new Evil Dead movie coming out soon, and apparently it beats you off. Well, finally, an Evil Dead movie with a happy ending. Anyways, today I wanted to look back on the best Evil Dead movie to date, Evil Dead 2. Now let me drop a steamy hot take on you though. I think I'm bound to always have a slight bias for the first movie. It brings me to that very special place that very few movies can. But all of that said though, I do think that unquestionably Evil Dead 2 here is the best movie. So this came out in '87, a full 6 years after the original. After Evil Dead, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell wanted to do something different and move away from horror. Sam made a movie called Crime Wave. You probably haven't heard about it because nobody has. It was apparently a disaster to shoot and apparently a disaster to watch as well. Yeah, the film bombed. Nobody liked it. So they were like, let's make a new Evil Dead movie. And as much as I love the first one, I really do, Evil Dead 2 really is a huge improvement on every single level. I mean, when you look back at the behind the scenes of that first one, it looks like pure misery. A complete nightmare. Everybody got injured, the actors were freezing to death, they didn't have any plan, continuity is all over the place. The last act was apparently shot in Sam Raimi's basement. So for this one, they got people who actually knew what they were doing. So this is a strange film. It's as much a sequel as it is kind of a reboot and a remake all at once. The original plan was to open with a recap of the first film, but they didn't have the rights to use any footage from that movie, so they had to shoot that recap. And along the way, they retconned a couple things. This time around, only Ash and his girlfriend go to the cabin. No Scott. No Cheryl. No Penn in the fucking ankle. Ouch. And they don't waste a single second. They get to the cabin, Ash plays the tape that summons the demons. Next thing you know, he's decapitating his girlfriend with a shovel. And then he gets head, but not the kind he was hoping for, if you get what I mean. It takes no less than 5 minutes before shit hits the fan. And from then on, it just never stops. Well, I guess let's talk about the plot of that movie. And I use the word plot very lightly because there barely is one. But essentially, after the shovel incident, our main character Ash spends half an hour just losing his mind. He's laughing with his demon pals, it's pretty fun. And this man is getting all sorts of abuse. After that, the plot thickens. We got these researchers here, Annie and Ed, and they found the lost pages of the Necronomicon, and they want to study them at the cabin. We also get these rednecks who tag along. It's Jake and Bobby Joe. And don't worry about forgetting her name. Jake is gonna yell it about 1,500 times in this movie.
Bobby Joe! 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 Bobby Joe!
After that, some spooky demon stuff happens, and then Annie's ghost dad shows up. He's actually the one who found the Necronomicon in the first place, along with his lovely wife Henrietta, who turned into this atrocity right there. Would smash. Anyways, Ghost Dad tells Annie that if she reads the passages from the 2 pages she conveniently just found, demons are going straight back to hell.
Save my soul in your own eyes.
Well, easy enough, right? Piece of cake. Well, this movie needs to be 90 minutes long though, so, Jake throws the pages, their only chance to survive, into the demon-filled cellar. His reasoning being, the pages don't mean squat. Bunch of mumbo-jumbo bullshit. Okay, I mean, he just witnessed this.
Save my soul.
But, magic pages is where he draws the line. It's just a little too silly. Thankfully, Redneck Jake gets what he deserves. Tenfold. Like, he's not a very likable character, but the amount of abuse this man gets, I started feeling bad for him. Well, first off, Annie accidentally stabs the guy, but it doesn't kill him, and then she keeps slamming that fucking door on his agonizing body continuously, and then he screams because, he's in atrocious pain because he just got stabbed by that lady, and she just yells at him to shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ, I mean, things can only go up for that guy, right? Oh, anyways, they get the pages back, find a Freddy glove, they kill Henrietta.
Swallow this.
Then Annie reads the passages, which opens a portal and sends not only the demons, but also Ash back in time in the Middle Ages. Teasing a sequel that ended up being Army of Darkness. And that's Evil Dead 2 for you.
Groovy.
A movie light on plot but heavy on gore. Everything's been said about this movie, why it's as good as it is, and I don't really have much to add to the conversation really, but I will anyways, okay? I love the movie, so why not? And let's start with style over substance. You're not watching Evil Dead 2 for the incredible character growth. You're not watching that film for the conflict and the mesmerizing dialogue, the profound themes. Just throw that shit out the window, we don't need it. Evil Dead 2 is all about being a stylish, crazy, balls-to-the-wall roller coaster from beginning to end. And this just goes to show how talented Sam Raimi is. Because on paper, not much really happens in this movie. It's always just demon attacks people, and you just repeat that. So how can they possibly make a 90-minute movie where that's literally all you get? Especially if it's gonna take place in one single location this whole time. Take that concept and put somebody else in charge, well, you're probably gonna get a bland, boring, forgettable B-movie. But then, you get Sam Raimi to direct a scene where people hear strange noises. That's like the simplest possible thing, and this is how he shoots it. Honestly, Evil Dead 2 feels more like an experiment, just trying to do the craziest, most insane things with the simplest concept there is. It's just one crazy set piece after another for 90 minutes, and that's the substance of the movie. Just being trapped in that cabin, completely isolated, and going through that acid trip nightmare. If there's one scene that captures the essence of Evil Dead 2 perfectly, it would be when this Ken-looking motherfucker Ed
Hi, Barbie!
turns into a demon, and there's this big fight. This bitch in the cellar's going nuts while Ed eats this lady's hair, and it makes me hungry. And then he goes full on Reagan from The Exorcist. Oh shit. And Ash chops him up into little pieces, and there's goosebumps slime everywhere. It's just the perfect mix of everything. You got crazy shots, evil demons, blood, guts, special effects, a good old dose of silliness, and at the end, a little breather where everyone just stands there just taking it in like, what the fuck just happened? Phew, well, that was crazy. Surely nothing can beat that, at least not for a while. And then 5 minutes later, a woman gets raped by a monster tree. That's Evil Dead 2 for you. Just complete non-stop chaos, and the bare bones story, there's not much to it, but it's a perfectly fine excuse to keep things going. Alright, it's an Evil Dead movie, we gotta talk about them. The Deadites. Just some of the best horror villains out there. They're kinda like possessed Reagan, but on steroids.
Your mother sucks cocks in hell.
And I love the variety this time around. We got a lot of demons here. In the first movie, some of them look pretty cool, some of them not so much, but they're kind of all the same, and they don't talk all that much. They're not as funny. In Evil Dead 2, ooh, we got Henrietta. She looks like an angry Karen.
Swallow your soul!
Ed looks like a fucking fish monster, and he has multiple rows of teeth, which is pretty cool. Evil Ash looks like an EC comic zombie. Bobby Joe gets attacked by the tree, like in the first one, although we only saw branches in that first movie, while here, it's a full-on monster tree. You know that's gotta be someone's weird-ass fetish out there. Pretty creepy though. The branches are going in her throat, stabbing her flesh. It's pretty gnarly. And we even get the ultimate demon boss at the end. He looks like a kind of a mix between a pumpkin monster and, I don't know, Freddy Krueger. Something else I love about the Deadites, they don't just want to kill you. Like swallowing your soul, that's fun and all, but they have so much fun just psychologically torturing people. Naked dancing stop motion decapitated demon girlfriends, a possessed hand flipping you off, bleeding walls, doppelgangers. There's a demon deer head at one point. Don't you forget about that ghost house. They're incredibly original and creepy and funny, and overall, yeah, I just love them. Now, the big difference between that first and that second movie, aside for the improvements on the effects, obviously, is that Evil Dead 2 is, in fact, a dark comedy. It's probably the first movie that you think of when you hear a horror comedy. There's plenty of other great ones like Gremlins and Reanimator, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and Return of the Living Dead, all of that jazz, and I love all of these movies. But Evil Dead 2, this is kind of the best one. And the thing is, the humor in this movie, it's a mix of so many things. We got corny one-liners.
Groovy.
There's nice visual gags like Home Sweet Home. We have full-on slapstick humor. There's a lot of Three Stooges inspired gags.
The secret to Sam Raimi is that he keeps trying to make Three Stooges movies.
Bruce Campbell's physical comedy here could fit very well in one of their skits, minus the blood and the guts. But where I find the most humor out of Evil Dead 2 is where other people might not. The film is so over the top and crazy, it's so surreal and has so much excess in everything that horrific scenes somehow start becoming incredibly funny. Ash cutting his own hand. Fucking one of the funniest scenes in that movie. Jake being turned into a literal pool of blood. That's pretty horrifying. And yet, it always gives me a good chuckle. Apparently, some people can't take a fucking joke though. Evil Dead 2 had its fair share of criticisms. There's this awfully cringe video I found on YouTube where people are saying the dumbest shit they could possibly say.
And how the media affects behaviour and the level of social violence, and there is no doubt that it does affect the level of social violence.
There is a doubt. There's no...
No, there's no doubt at all, I'm afraid.
What study do you base that on?
This asshole keeps saying that Evil Dead 2 will influence children and turn them into psychopaths.
I think he's being extremely irresponsible in making that sort of a film.
Yeah, a movie about a fat flying woman and a demon hand flipping you off, of all things.
Well, at least 700 or 800 different pieces of independent evidence upon which to base it.
800 pieces of evidence that violent movies will turn your kids into psychopaths? I mean, 30-something years later, this is still a debate, and there still is no evidence of that sort, you stuck-up little bitch. Anyways, I think the movie's funny. It's silly, it's over the top, and it's one of the best horror comedies of all time. All in all, big shocker here. Evil Dead 2, pretty great movie. Other shocking news, Water is Wet. You know, it's not a perfect movie. I mean, you can see some of the wires. Henrietta's suit has a huge tear in the ass, and you can see Ted Raimi's boxers. There's a couple of not so great effects. Very, very few, but a couple. You know, some stuff like that. But all in all, this is the Evil Dead, but better. And despite being better and having a little more budget, it still has that charm of just young guys making a passion project and just having fun. And this would have been nothing had it not been for the passion of every single person involved with that film. The makeup and special effects guys, including Greg Nicotero from The Walking Dead, and the guy who did the effects in Blood Rage, a movie also starring Ted Raimi selling condoms. Greatest movie of all time, by the way, in case you didn't know. These guys not only seemed to have a lot of fun, but they worked so incredibly hard. And it paid off because Evil Dead 2 has some of the best practical effects I've ever seen. Sarah Berry, who played Annie, she did such a great job, just constantly yelling and being in a state of panic the whole time. Bruce Campbell, I mean, can we just talk about Bruce Campbell for a second?
What are you doing here? Get the fuck out of here.
Talk about a committed performance. This guy was doing front flips and breaking plates in his face and doing pretty much all of his stunts. Like, the movie's already funny, but his physical performance adds a lot to the comedic factor. And then of course you have Sam Raimi, who's just a genius. Am I jealous of him? Yes. All in all, Evil Dead 2, one of my favorite horror movies. I love it. Mwah. And this was just a fun little trip down memory lane. I remember watching this movie when I was younger. I think I skipped school. My friend and I, we just did a marathon of all 3 Evil Dead movies. Yeah, greatest day of my life. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this movie. So, what'd you think of it? Are you excited for the new one? I think it's gonna be fine. You know, the trailer's pretty good.
Mommy's with the maggots now.
Well, anyways, thank you very much for watching. Till next time, just keep watching horror movies. They're good for your health. Bye-bye.